Today we are beginning Lesson 1 of Topic 4. Our learning intention today is I can subtract using a number line. So let's get started with our solve and share. Now my screen and your workbook look a little bit different. So what we can do for our solve and share is I can do it on the screen and you can watch, or if you would like to draw your own number line and pause the video to write it, you can also do that. Our solve and share says that Mark has 13 erasers. So I like to go ahead and underline my important information. I like to underline my numbers. So Mark has 13 erasers. He gives 5 of them to Troy. How many erasers does Mark have now? Show your thinking on a number line. Well, let's look and see. So if Mark has 13 erasers and he gives 5 of them to Troy, I'm going to subtract using a number line. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to look at what my whole is. So my whole is 13. It says Mark has 13 erasers total. So I'm going to go on my number line and I'm going to find the number 13. And I'm going to make a small dot to show that is where I am starting. It says next he gives 5 of them to Troy. So if you are giving 5 to somebody else, are you adding or subtracting? You would be subtracting because it says you're giving 5 of them to Troy. So on my number line, I would not move going up in numbers. I would have to move to the left to show I am moving down in my numbers. I am giving 5 away. So I'm going to jump 5 spaces to the left because I'm subtracting. So I'm starting at 13. I'm going to count back 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I started at 13 because it told me that Mark had 13 erasers total. He gave 5 of them away, so I jumped back 5 spaces, and that took me to 8. So Mark has 8 erasers now. And you can check your work by writing a subtraction problem. So by taking your whole, 13, subtracting 5 apart, 13 minus 5 is equal to 8. So this is how you can subtract by using a number line. Now let's watch our animated video for Lesson 1 in Topic 4.
You can count back or count on to subtract. That's 2 ways you can subtract. Let's try with 11 minus 5. What are the 2 ways that you can subtract 11 minus 5? You can subtract by counting on or counting back. Do you think that you will get the same answer whether you count on or count back?
Select your answer.
So do you think that you will get the same answer whether you count on or count back?
Yes, you will get the same answer because both counting on and counting back are ways to find 11 minus 5. You can count back on a number line to subtract 11 minus 5. Where should you start on the number line? Why? You You should start at 11 because that is the number that you are subtracting from. How many should you count back? Explain. You count back. Explain. You should count back 5 because that is the number that you are subtracting. What is 11 minus 5? How do you know? 11 minus 5 equals 6. You know 11 minus 5 is 6 because after you counted back 5, you are at 6 on the number line. You can also count on to subtract 11 minus 5 on a number line. How could you use a number line to count on to solve 11 minus 5? Start at 5 and count on 6 to get to 11. 5 plus 6 equals 11. So 11 minus 5 equals 6. Do you get the same answer if you count on or count back to find 11 minus 5? Explain. Yes, you get the same answer, 6, whether you count on or count back. Now you know how to count back or count on to subtract.
Now let's look at our guided practice on page 162. It tells us to find the difference and use the number line. So number 1 is already completed for us. Let's look at how they did it. The equation says 11 minus 3 equals, and then they have the answer of 8. Well, let's look and see how they used the number line to solve. They began with the whole of 11. So they found 11 on the number line, and they had to jump back 3 spaces, so they then jumped 1, 2, 3, and that brought them to 8. So 11 minus 3 is equal to 8. Now let's look at number 2. Now number 2 is set up a little bit different. On number 2, we are looking for the missing number that equals 15 minus 6. So the way we could use our number line to solve this is still start with our whole. It's just a little rearranged, but we can still do it. So go to your whole, find 15 on the number line. So here is 15, and you are going to make a small dot to show that's where you started. Now we have to subtract 6, so that means we are going to jump back 6 spots. So let's do it. We'll jump back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we started at 15, jumped back 6 places, and that brought us to what number? 9. So in the blank, we would write 9 equals 15 minus 6. So let's look at our independent practice now. For your independent practice, you are doing the same thing that we did in our guided practice. You are going to find the difference of the numbers by using the number line. So your first equation is 11 minus 6. So you will find 11 on the number line, plot it, jump back 6 spaces, and then write the number on the line that you land on. Number 4 is also written a little bit differently, but you are wanting to write the number that equals 7 minus 7. 7 minus 7. On number 5, you are looking for the missing number that you would take away from 15 that would give you 7. So you would still plot 15 and jump back until you get to the number 7. So you would count back how many jumps it took you to get to the number 7 and write that number in the blank. So now is a good time to pause the video so that you can independently work on numbers 3, 4, and 5. If you get confused, just rewind the video to watch our guided practice again. Now be sure to pause the video if you are still working on the previous page, because we are now going to begin talking about number 6. Number 6 says, help David find 16 minus 7 on a number line. Fill in the blanks below. Now number 6 did not give us a number line, so you are able to draw a number line on your workbook page, or if you choose to count back a different way, then that would be okay for this problem. It says, help David find 16 minus 7 on a number line. So it wants us to know, what number would you start at on the number line? If you are working with 16 minus 7, what number would you start counting at? 16 or 7? Write that number in the blank. Then how many numbers would you count back? 16 or 7? And then it wants you to solve 16 minus 7. So you could either draw a number line, or number 7 and 8 have a number line if you want to lightly write on this line below to help you solve for number 6, and then when you work on number 7, you could just erase it. You could also do that since number 6 did not provide us with one. But write the number you would start counting at, write the number you would count back, then solve the problem. Number 7 says Jenny draws 14 frogs. Adam draws 6 frogs. How many more frogs does Jenny draw than Adam? Write an equation. So if Jenny draws 14 frogs and Adam draws 6 frogs, and we want to know how many more frogs does Jenny draw than Adam, would we be adding or subtracting? We want to know how many more frogs. Are we adding or subtracting? We are going to be adding for this problem. So even though we are adding in our equation, we can still use our number line to help us count back. So how many total frogs does Jenny draw? 14. So start at 14. And how many frogs did Adam draw? 6. So then you are going to jump and count back 6 and see what number you land on. So I will write in this part of the equation. We know we have 14 total. And we know that Adam drew 6, so we want to find this missing add-in here. And this number will be the same as this number. And you will find it out by counting back how many jumps you have to count back to get to number 6. So jump back from 14, and however many jumps you do to get to 6 will be your answer. Our last one says, use the number line to find 15 minus 9. So for number 8, you will do exactly what we've been doing in these problems. You will start with the whole, plot it on the number line, and then count back the number you are subtracting. So you'll start at 15, count back 9, and write that number in the blank. So you will start at your whole of your equation and jump back how many you're subtracting, then write the number in the blank that you land on. If you have any questions about today's math lesson, please let me know. I know it can be a little bit harder to do these kinds of problems while we're online, so if you need any help at all, please let me know.